Subcommittee on Federal Lands will come to order. Without objection, the chair is authorized to declare a recess of the subcommittee at any time. The subcommittee is meeting today to consider 4 bills. H.R. 1945 by Representative Onder, H.R. 2290, Representative Dingell, H.R. 2306, Representative Molinar, H.R. 4285 by Representative Malloy. I ask unanimous consent that the following members be allowed to participate in today's hearing. From the dais, the gentle lady from Michigan, Ms. Dingell, the gentleman from Michigan, Mr. Molinar, and the gentleman from Missouri, Mr. Onder. Without objection, so ordered. Under Committee Rule 4F, any oral opening statements at hearings are limited to the chairman and the ranking minority member. I therefore ask unanimous consent that all other members' opening statements be made part of the hearing record if they are submitted in accordance with Committee Rule 3, Parent O. Without objection, so ordered. I'll now recognize myself for an opening statement. I'd like to welcome everybody back to the committee after our 4th of July recess. Hope you all had a great 4th of July. Earlier this month, we didn't just celebrate our country's independence, we celebrated a major win for the American people. On the 4th of July, President Trump signed the One Big Beautiful Bill into law, delivering on key promises to restore responsible forest management, unleash American energy, and roll back the Biden administration's wasteful spending spree. This landmark bill follows the framework laid out in President Trump's executive orders, prioritizing active land management, reviving our nation's commitment to energy dominance, and eliminating costly, ineffective programs tucked into the so-called Inflation Reduction Act. This historic legislation puts common sense and stewardship ahead of the bureaucracy and radical climate ideology. But just as important, this legislation reflects the kind of vision we should carry into the next year as we celebrate America's 250th anniversary. The One Big Beautiful Bill strengthens access to our public lands and national parks by investing in events, celebrations, and activities surrounding America 250. Through these events, we can remind everyday Americans about our country's rich history and what makes us the greatest nation in the world. And as President Trump reminded us with his Garden of Heroes initiative, our history is worth celebrating, not tearing down. That's what brings us here today. As part of the lead-up to the semi-quincentennial, say that 3 times, today's hearing considers 4 proposals that honor key figures, historic milestones, and the landmarks that tell America's story. We'll begin with H.R. 1945 from Representative Onder, which would designate America's National Churchill Museum in Fulton, Missouri as a National Historic Landmark. This museum marks the site of Churchill's famous 1946 Iron Curtain speech, a defining moment in the Cold War and a reminder of the strength of freedom-loving nations working together. We'll also consider H.R. 2290, led by Congresswoman Dingell and Representative Fulcher, to authorize the placement of a memorial honoring the millions of American women who contributed to the war effort during World War II. Their work on the home front was vital to Allied success and deserves permanent recognition. Next is H.R. 2306, the Adams Memorial Great American Heroes Act, introduced by Representative Molinar. This bipartisan bill reauthorizes the commission charged with building a memorial to the Adams family, including John Adams, the first Vice President and second President of the United States, his wife Abigail, and their son, John Quincy, the 6th President of the United States, whose leadership helped form the bedrock of our republic. While I am concerned about the spending authorized in this legislation, I look forward to hearing more about the proposed location of this memorial. President John Adams once said that our obligations to our country never cease but with our lives. Representative Molinar's legislation ensures that the Adams family's many contributions and overwhelming sense of obligation to our great nation will not cease with the passage of time. Finally, we will consider the STARS Act, introduced by Representative Malloy. This legislation designates September 17th, 2026, Constitution Day and Citizenship Day as a fee-free day at the National Park Service sites. It's a smart, symbolic step to help Americans of all backgrounds participate in the semi-quincentennial and connect with the public lands and history we all share. I can think of no better way to celebrate our country than encouraging people to enjoy what is frequently referred to as America's best idea, our national parks. Each of these bills supports the goals of America 250 to educate, commemorate, and unify all Americans, and each reminds us that honoring our past is essential to securing our future. This subcommittee is proud to work with the administration to advance legislation that codifies President Trump's executive orders. In particular, the legislation on today's agenda directly supports President Trump's executive orders on celebrating America's 250th birthday and making the District of Columbia safe and beautiful. I want to thank all the bill's sponsors for their leadership and extend my appreciation to the witnesses today. Your work helped bring these ideas to life and ensure the American story continues to be told proudly and truthfully. With that, I now